You demand cat? Well, then I shall go get cat. I will be right back and we'll get started then. So hold on. Let me go find Zilby. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, Isitsu. I've already gotten cat. Hold on, let me reach down without Zilby jumping down. There we go. We have cat. Wait, where do you want to go? Don't go down there. That's the keyboard. Or you could, okay, you could bump the microphone. That looks good too. All right. Well, we got temporary cat. Sylvie, do you want to hang out? I accidentally closed the door, so now he's like feels that he might be trapped in here, which he is. Uh, which might make him want to leave more. Or not? Oh, but I also have a group of toys for him. All hail the great orange one. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Zilby, if you want to come and hang out, we've got we got people who like you. He just is staring from the floor on the other side of the computer. Okay, well, if he comes and he hangs out anywhere where I can easily uh, get a camera on him, I will do that. In the meantime, let's jump back into where we were. So we're continuing to work on the HTTP server challenge from CodeCrafters in Rust. And we're currently on concurrent connections. So from what I can tell, we've implemented get and post, and that was pretty much it for what we've done. Now that's because we could add on to that and do like put and patch and delete and other ones, but the verbs are all very similar to each other in that way. So I can totally understand why they don't want to necessarily go the other direction. Zilby's at a window, but he's at a lower window. And I'm afraid if I put a camera on him, I'll just end up also accidentally showing my neighbor's yard. And I don't want to dox them. So I can't get a camera on him yet. Okay. Let's see. In this stage, you'll add support for concurrent connections. How well tested? Okay, so then the tester will create multiple concurrent TCP connections to your server. The exact number of connections is determined at random. After that, the tester will send a single GET request through each of the connections. Okay, so it's going to basically do them all simultaneously. Your server must respond to each request with the following response. So just a standard one, right? Like we just want it to be able to handle multiple connections at the same time. Now, if I wanted to show this off in a like this is working way. So did you panic? You panicked. Why did you panic? CodeCrafters HTTP Rust. Cargo run. Address and use. Oh. Huh. What address am I using? $4221. I would have thought that that was unique enough, but apparently I have another oh, my other profile, I must have something running on 4221, but I'm not aware of that. Okay, so I think the best way for me to handle this would be to use an environment variable. And what I could do is I can listen to the environment variable, but then grab this out. So let's go into main. And we're going to say our port is going to be equal to... Now you inspects an environment variable at compile time. I'm okay with doing this at runtime. So center env var. We'll call this port. And then I want to unwrap or... think unwrap or is fine enough. You need to be a string, huh? Okay, so 4221, I think is what it was. To owned you. We get that. Let's turn. Do you need to be a number? Oh, you're just part of that string there. We'll need to format this. Put the number in correctly. So we'll do a port. This might as well be a string. Even though it would be really nice, I guess, if I turn this into a number. U32 might be a good idea. And then we will format this. Throw in a port like that. You're happy. You're not happy until I... Let's see. So this is a... Is it a result or an option? It's a result. Can I map a result or is that only an option? Maps a result to the OK value. Okay, so I can, absolutely. So this will be the stringified port. And I want a U32. What is it off of string or so is it? Yeah, okay. Parse that. And then we'll unwrap or else do this thing. Oh, and now you need to actually just be a number. Excellent. And there we go. So now you should be able to figure out what it is. Wait a second. What do you return? Yeah, it returns a result. So I should be able to unwrap or it, right? Oh, I need to return a string from this, don't I? Well, that's silly. Hold on, if I don't do this unwrap or. Oh, it's an unknown unknown. Okay, so you need... Oh, are you upset because I closed the doors and trapped you in here with me? Okay, let me go let Zilby out. Or door will automatically open and he'll let himself out. Okay, so can I parse... Do you take a type like this? Can I just say U32? And then you need expected enum result U32 parser. Oh, are you thinking you're an I? That. Oh, wait, it needs to be a result? Now I'm confused with the unwrap. Okay, so map gives me, oh, it's a result. Oh. I don't like that at all. Okay, so if I take you out, okay, so this gives us that as a string, and then I want to maybe shadow this into a number. So we just do a port parse. Yeah, okay, so if I do this all together, like if I do it all together at one, it gives me a result, which isn't that great. If I do them one after the other, though, it's much better. So the map was screwing things up, which is unfortunate because the map also makes things a little bit nicer, in my opinion, except for that double result. That's not that nice. So you could use okay with and then. Oh, really? Okay, hold on. Let's try that. So if I do this, where you just say we map, not here. Okay, here we map. We have our port. I want to port. Oh, and then instead of map. Oh, okay. I was thinking like afterwards. Calls OP. If the result, the only thing my brain is just going straight to the game dev term of like overpowered, but that's not OP. Coding Garden, hello. How are you all doing? And Coding Garden rated with a rate of 136. Welcome, raiders and Coding Garden. Got a raid and run. Well, have a great rest of your day, CJ. And I will hopefully I'll be able to see you at Startup Week. But awesome, yeah, great to have you here, everybody. Welcome. How you all doing today? What was CJ working on? I didn't know he was streaming this morning. My chat window is small, so I'm gonna have to scroll up to see what everybody was saying. Okay. We have Andrew Lane, hello, how are you doing today? Alka, hello. Zero Turner, Connery 10, Kotali, and Obi-Wan, you know me. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Went over Express v5 and just answering questions. Wait, is Express v5 a new one? I haven't looked at Express in years. I don't even remember if the last project you're working on was a v4 or a v3 Express. But awesome, that's great. I'm glad that CJ was able to stream. I know that he's been really busy with the other job, but he streams a lot with Sentry stuff. So just released, nice. Well, someday I might take a look at that. But we have a lot of fun with Rust over here. So currently I'm working on a CodeCrafters challenge. CodeCrafters is this website here. It's a challenge website, so it's not exactly the same as some like the Elite Code or any of the other sites. It's like full challenges and full disclosure here. It's not sponsored, but it's partnership. So I do have an affiliate link for them. They gave me free access to the entire site. Previously, we did a build your own Git from scratch using Rust. And we did that completely. That's all up on YouTube in case you want to go watch that. Right now, we're working on build your own HTTP server. And then we're choosing to use Rust, but they have lots of other languages available. So like JavaScript, for example, Python, Go, things like that. And right now, we are working on concurrent connections. Although I ran into a problem where apparently I'm reusing the same port, but their tests are... well, their tests require it to be on port 4221. So I'm needing to set up an environment variable so I can test on a different port locally, and then their code will test on 4221 in their environment. And we'll take a look at what that looks like as soon as we get this going. So currently, for those of you, out of curiosity, how many of you are interested / aware of like Rust code? And how many of you would like it to be more explained? Because I can easily do that. Wait, parse returns a result. That's the problem here. Oh, wait. Okay. Parse returns. Andrew, what editor is this? This is the Helix editor. It's a CLI editor. Think something like Vim or NeoVim or AstroVim or Emacs or something like that. But it's similar to Vim. You use the keyboard commands to sort of like move around. But it is written in Rust. It's like a brand new editor. It's still sort of like in pre-release form. It's nice. I like it a lot. The problem with and then on result is that it wants the error to be the same type. So if you chain OK on the result, then you can turn it into an option and use and then on that instead. So OK before. Oh, OK. So basically I do OK. So for those of you who aren't aware of Rust and what's going on, is like, what the heck is this? We don't have to do this in JavaScript. The result types are a little bit interesting. Also, hello. Hello, how are you doing? So result types in Rust is basically if something can fail, it's the Rust equivalent of throwing an error because we don't have throw. Or at least we don't have like a traditional type of throw, and we don't have a traditional catch either. So we don't really use blocks for that, but instead we use these result type things. And no, don't auto ask me to do that. So I want to take this environment and load this environment variable that I'm going to have up. Now that says, hey, it could fail. What if that environment variable doesn't exist? So it would throw an error or the equivalent of throwing an error. So I have to handle that. So I was trying to use this and then. So if it's okay and then do this other thing, but then this parse itself can throw an error because what if it's not a string that can turn into a number? So I have errors within errors as a problem here. So what I can do here is I can say, hey, Rust, take this result here and turn it into an option. The other thing with Rust is that we don't have null types in Rust. Instead, we have this option, which might sort of feel that it's, just sort of like a one-to-one relation, but it's subtly different because it's an actual like full type and not sort of like a weird not type. It's it actually forces us to handle it. And of course, a option can be something or nothing. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, if you're okay, so if it successfully loaded the environment variable here, which I actually see this as a potential problem here, because if this doesn't load that, I don't want it to fail. So I probably need to map you first. So we're going to get the raw string port, and no, wait. The okay is fine for this one. Won't that, if the environment variable doesn't exist, because it won't exist on the server, it will only exist here in local dev. Won't the okay turn it into a none? You unwrap or at the end if it was a none. Okay. And then that will give me then I can set the default at that point in time. Got it. Okay. So, okay, to turn this into an option here, that's going to have a string. And then after parse. You unwrap or yeah, okay. All right. So add an okay after parse as well. All right, this is gonna be fun. So we do and then we take in, so this is the equivalent of a callback function. We call it closures here in Rust, but it's the exact same thing. And instead of, a fat arrow, we just have vertical bars and then a space. It's, syntax differences, but the same general idea. Parse itself can return a result. So I need to convert that into the right thing. So we okay you. That makes you happy. And then this becomes an unwrap or you need expected U32. So you need to be the right type. So there we go. Now we have this all done here. So we are correctly loading up report. If the environment variable port does not exist, we'll run this unwrap or command, and it will give us 4221 hard-coded. Otherwise, I'll be able to say, see, this is sort of like slightly behind me. Hold on. I'll be able to say export port equals, let's do the 8000 series. Let's do like 8001. So if I do that, and now we do a cargo run, compiling, starting to listen. So this should be listening now on port 8001, which means I should be able to open up and do a curl. I'm doing a curl, sending the header blah blah to not 4221, but now 8001. And I got this back. That was loud. There's a garbage truck right outside the window. They're almost done. Okay, so excellent. We've got to the point where we can actually begin the challenge, or at least this specific section of the challenge, which is concurrent connections. So if I wanted to test you, we can try this in a couple different ways, right? So they're going to make multiple connections to our server, and then each of them send a GET request at exactly the same time. I wonder what's the best way for me to test this. I could sleep maybe. Yeah, okay, what if I sleep on a response? So here's, I have a response here like this. When we're sending the response out, we write out to the stream, okay, it's like HTTP 1. But if like before this, if I were to set like maybe a 5 seconds delay before I started writing anything back to the stream in response, maybe that would allow me to see if we have concurrently set this up, because if I send like 2 really quickly, the first one will be delayed by 5 seconds, and then the next one will be delayed by 10 seconds if it's in parallel. No, if it's what's concurrent, and what's the other word? My brain went blank there. My can't. I don't know. My brain's not working for that. I can't recall the right word. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna put a sleep in here. So one of the nice things about Rust, especially if you're coming from something like JavaScript, where a lot of things are asynchronous by default, this is not. We can just put this thread to sleep for however long we want. So we're gonna have a duration from seconds 5, and that's it. So I'm just going to sleep 5 seconds before sending a response out. So if let's do a cargo watch series. That's what it is. Thank you for that, Acid Spark. Okay, so I'm listening. Any changes I make will now work. I'm doing cargo watch, which is very similar to, what was it back in JavaScript land? It's been way too long since I've used it. I forget what the tool is everybody used for like auto rerunning your code. All right, so if I call this again, we wait for 5 seconds, and then it's going to respond. Great, perfect. Now I want to move that up here, and let's do a new window. Move that down there, and so I want another curl like this. And so can I do... hard to count. It's hard to count exactly on what that is. Is it time? Yeah, so I think I can do time curl, right? Yeah, and so that gives me 5.024 seconds was how long this took. Okay, perfect. So if I do a time here, and we should see 5.022 seconds, and this should be 10 or so seconds. 8 seconds or so. Okay, good enough. Now, if I make this concurrent, we should be able to see that number go down to like the 5 seconds or around there. So let's see. How do we want to do this? What do I've got? So like we have our main library code. I'm starting to listen. We receive the incoming message. I don't need to print that out anymore. I want to, okay, so yeah, I get the stream, get the request. Now, can I have an incoming listener on different threads here? It's like maybe, can I clone the TCP listener? Because if I can clone this, I can throw it into different threads and then it just works. And maybe that's all I need to do. And if it doesn't work, I can throw this into an arc mutex. Okay, can I do a listener try clone? Creates a new independently owned handle to the underlying socket. The return TCP listener is referenced to the same socket that this object references. Both handles can be used to accept incoming connections. An option set on one listener will affect the other. Okay, so that sounds like, yes, I can just hand a clone of this listener to whoever I want. Okay, so if I create a block here, we're going to do, let's just create a new listener. You don't have a real clone, so we have to try clone, which means if this fails, okay, so I'm just going to context, and we're going to say we're cloning listener and question mark, which is basically going to take the result from this context. Sorry, it's going to take the result from this try clone. Context adds a message to it. And then the question mark then sends it out the result immediately without running the rest of the code. Sort of like an actual throw, but different. It's all sugar syntax. Okay, I create the listener like that. Now I want to run all of you in a thread. So what thread do I have? We're not using Tokyo, so let's see. Let's just use standard thread. Is it create thread? Oh, no, it's spawn thread. Okay, so I spawn the thread, which okay, our join handle there. Is it a block or it's a function. Okay, so it's gonna be like that. And then I want to take all of you and throw you in here. Okay, so now we're gonna create a stream from the listener. I want to take this listener, I want to move it in here. So it's now available inside of here. But this won't work anymore because the question mark is now trying to go out of here as opposed to out of here. So let's, we probably just need to straight up doing a crash. That's what I'm thinking. We could just straight up panic. So I can, we can just unwrap. Unwrap is the equivalent of just letting it crash. If it's okay, it's good. Otherwise, don't work. Okay, and then I have this handle. And I wonder if I want to create, yeah, so we're going to want to create a bunch of threads, aren't we? Praddick Shift? Hello, how are you doing today? I'm using a Logitech HD 1080p, which probably on the back of the camera is like the model, and I forget exactly what it is. But yeah, that's what I'm using. A Logitech something. The front of it doesn't have the model, unfortunately. Tokyo spawn go burr. Yeah, it does, but we don't have Tokyo. And I'm going to try to avoid using Tokyo for this, just for the sake of the challenge. That being said, creating a bunch of these, this will create... No, is that right? Because like for each one of these is a new incoming stream, isn't it? So actually I want to create a new thread spawn here, don't I? So I'm doing this in the wrong place. I probably want to do this here. Is that right? I would imagine so. So for each listener incoming, I want to send this stream and have it go into a thread and then do the thread and do all the work in there. So if I have my handle, my thread handle, so let's spawn a thread. We're going to have to move the stream inside of there. Let's see, there's the join handle like that. Okay. And then that just does the thing. Now at the very end, I need to join the handle. Where do I want to join the handle? I could join it here. I could just say handle.join. Unused result. Can I I can't context this. Okay, so then I'm not in a closure. Can I just do that? No. I'll just unwrap right now. Okay, so the server's running. And if I run this seems like a bad idea. Oh, come on. What's the worst that could happen? I screwed up. I screwed up the run. I did up arrow when I didn't need to do up arrow. So I have not made it concurrent. That makes the thread pointless. It does indeed make the thread pointless because, so how does this work? Is the listener comes in one after the other, right? That makes the threads pointless since you're not going to spawn the next one until this one is, yeah, the join is basically screwing this up. If I remove the join completely, does the thread still run? I know that you don't need to join it on a Tokyo spawned thread, but I can't remember on a normal thread. Let's find out. Oh, yeah, okay, so that just works. As to be expected. Okay, so I don't need to join it at all. We're fine. Game Stylist, hello. Yes, I do read YouTube chat, although sometimes I do miss it. Now, so joining on threads is one of those things where like you're basically saying, okay, now I want you to like finish and do the thing. Now you can remove the try clone. You're right, because we're just using that one there. We don't need the block here. So that makes you happy. Now I'm creating a new thread for each stream. So we have to make a decision. Do I create an unlimited number of threads? Because that's what's going to happen. Like if I have an unlimited number of incoming streams, I create an unlimited number of threads. Not necessarily a bad thing, but we can run out of, resources, potentially. I could create a thread pool, which isn't too hard to create, and just like throw that into there as soon as it's done, and then we join. Or we could just ignore it and just say, hey, this is fine. We do probably need to get rid of these threads eventually at some point in time. When a thread ends, so like after I send a response, this is done. Does the thread actually just like drop? I think it drops, right? Game Stylist, you have a question to ask. What happened to the LMS of mine? The LMS still exists. It's still up and running. I still looking at of people who are using it. I still get some people who are going on and looking through it. Yeah, so I don't know what the repercussions of not joining is. I think we're fine, especially for this challenge. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'll go ahead and underscore that so we don't have a warning on it. And then we should be good. I don't know how to like stress test this enough to really see the ramifications of the handle not being joined, because I don't think I can send enough requests to really have it be a problem. Do I consider it a success? Yes, I considered that a success. The LMS that it was. And then I have some design changes and sort of like some things to do for like a second iteration. And then I'm also working, I'm also like potentially working with some other groups that want to do some education type things through the LMS, which might require a design change, but I'm sort of like finding out whether or not that's going to be a reality before I do something like that. Where did I host the site? I mean, REST server and all the parts. There's no REST server for the LMS. For the LMS, I am the entire backend. I'm just using something like Hasura. I have that hosted in an ECS system on AWS. And then the front end it's all just Rust U, but that's compiled into WebAssembly, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, all that stuff. I throw that into S3 and use CloudFront. I find that that's the easiest. Okay, let's check. I have some warnings. Let's get rid of these. Let's see. What are you? You are in my request. Oh, I'm still not using protocol, so I'll just allow dead code. Oh, and you know what we should probably do? Should probably get rid of this sleep, because that was only for testing purposes. Even though that would be hilarious to leave in there. Okay, so we're good to go there. Let's commit this and see if we pass. Okay, so you are added threads to the HTTP server. And with this git push, we will now see whether or not this passes. It'll take them a little bit while to get the container. I'm guessing it's a container up and running and then test it, but it shouldn't take too long. Jim, hello. How are you doing today? It has been a while. How much does it cost per month? Not very much, less than $5 per month, I believe, because S3 and CloudFront is extremely cheap. Well, okay, so I shouldn't say less than $5 a month for everything, because I also have a hosted database. I have the the ECS things, like including the back end and the front end, it's like closer between like 20 and 30 a month, but that's mostly the hosted database, which I also use for other things together. And database is the most expensive part of it. Everything else is really cheap. Okay, test passed. Excellent. So mark stage as complete. Return a file. Okay, in this stage, you'll implement the file's file name endpoint, which returns a requested file to the client. The tester will execute your program with a -- directory flag. The -- directory flag specifies the directory where the files are stored as an absolute path. Okay, so they're actually going to call this with a -- directory. The tester will then send 2 GET requests to the file's file name endpoint on your server. Okay, so we don't know where this is going to be. This is going to be just somewhere on their disk system, which is why they need to use the -- directory. The first request will ask for a file that exists in the file's directory. Okay. Your server must respond with a 200 response that contains the following parts. Okay, content type, octet stream, content length, size of the file in bytes, and response body set to the file contents. Okay, and then basically everything as the body there, so after the final RN. Second request will ask for a file that doesn't exist in a files directory. Your server must respond with a 404 response. Okay, perfect. Hosted DB, yeah, I host databases on AWS. There's a bunch of different places that you can get databases from. There's really not that many great ones that I trust that are free for databases. Most, at least not for like anything production that somebody would like pay for. I wouldn't want to use a free one. But generally like to use like the hosted ones if I'm charging for it. Okay. All right. So what do we want to do? So the first thing we need to do is handle this directory thing. And we could get the args and just manually test the first arg and see if it's a directory. And that would be inside of main. So we have our port here like that. And if I want to test to see, I think this might be a good function to use. Now I could use a CLI tool. We don't have one, do we? We have anyhow bytes in this error. So no, we do not. So if I have a function, maybe like get directory, and I could return a result. So it's an anyhow result, but then inside of that, I can turn an option. And then in there could be a string of where the directory is. That's my guess, is what I can use to grab this. So I want to get the first, is it the first arg? Returns the arguments that this program was started with, normally passed via the command line. The first element is traditionally the path of the executable. Okay. But it can be set to arbitrary text and might not even exist. This means this property should not be relied upon for security purposes. Yay! Okay, we're not doing this for security purposes. That's gonna be fine. So I want, let me have that. And if I say args, what are you? You're an iterator. Okay. So I could just do next to skip the first one. Right? Do that to skip the first one, and then we'll have the option if it's a directory or not, right? So like if args next, if you're equal to, is it dash dash? Dash dash directory. Then I want to return args.next. And so this will become a let, this is the directory. This is the path, right? That's the path. Let's do directory equals that. You're gonna be upset unless I have like an else. We do a none here. Mismatch, expected enum option string, because next gives me an option with a string in it. Okay, so I could just do is some and you are the arg equals you. Close you off. Okay, does that work? So, okay. If the args.next is something and the arg is equal to dash dash directory, give me the next arg, otherwise give me a none. But yeah, and then we're just going to return an OK directory at the very end of this. And that will allow me to, at this point, now get let directory. I can actually directory equals get directory. I want to context you and say something. What do I want to say? You are, I guess, getting directory path, and then we'll unwrap. Because if you fail, I want you to crash, and that's going to be good. You are in options. That's great. Should I turn this into an actual path or just the string? I don't actually know. I'm not sure completely. And then let's just print line this. So we'll just say directory like that. Debug, print that out. That's fine. And we see, okay, so I see right now below there, that way. Below me, we see directory none on that, which is fine. But if I were to cargo watch x run is like this, directory like public, did not like that. Where do I put in the dash dash? I don't remember that there. Let's see, game stylus. You want to make a mock test practice site for exams with backend and database. Which stack do you suggest? I mean, pretty much any stack would work for that. As long as you know it's something that you know how to build something in. Like, yeah, even if it's just a sort of like a test one where you're a learning project, literally anything. That's just a pretty standard web application. So as long as you have a database, as long as you have a backend, as long as you have a front end that sort of like does what you need to do, that's it. So yeah, I don't really have a good suggestion for that because it's too open. Frequenz, hello. How are you doing today? Oh, but I thought I tried that. Here, because I did, hold on. I'll full screen this so you can actually see it. Here's what I'm trying to do. Cargo watch X run dash dash. So then pass this in directory public. That's what I want to do. Dash dash invalid option. Is this dash dash it thinking to run? Maybe it needs to go into quotes. Oh, maybe it does. Let's try that. So run. What if I, instead of this dash dash like this, I just do like that? Okay. Now you're telling me to do this. Okay. There we go. Directory is now some public starting to listen. Perfect. So we got it there. And then if I don't have this in, directory none starting to listen. Okay, so now we're working on this. I'll just leave it on the directory public. Perfect. Okay, so that's good. We have our directory. We're going to want to pass this in to here. So we'll have a directory. And then this will be a, I guess right now it's just going to be an option string. And taking ownership of that is fine. Now we need another route. So when I do this in process request, okay, we read stream, parse raw request, about the parse the method, the URL, the method, okay, the path and all that stuff, along with headers. Okay, this is great. And we find method, path, protocol, headers. Okay, this is great. This is great so far. Now, that gives me the request. Oh, right. Then I send it to the router. And here are my routes. So if it's nothing, processing the home request, echo user agent. Okay, so I want a new request. Sorry, I want a new handler, essentially. I guess I'll do this over here. Oh, right. Didn't we do something like, it was ERD? Yeah, that's what it was, to actually see what our tree is. Okay, so in our routes, I want to add in not user agent, but probably file. What is this actually called? This is just returning a file, right? So I don't want to call it file. That's not very good. So let's touch, see, I'm already in source, so I'm gonna touch routes, return file, directory, handle file. We'll call it handle file.rs. And there we go. Okay, so that's what you look like. And then you... Okay, so with handle file, we're going to have a pub function handle file. We are going to have to take in the request and then the directory. And do we return anything? I think I return a result. But I don't necessarily know if I return anything else because I think we just sort of do it from here, right? Like, for example, in echo, oh, I create a response. That's what it was. I create a response. Like that. Okay. All right, so this isn't right. Okay, so given this request, I want to check to see, first off, if there is a directory, right? Because if there's no directory, then we're just going to error out, and if the directory doesn't exist, you want a 404 response. That being said, if you completely fail to give us a directory, this is probably more than a 404 response. I probably want to HP code. Okay, so we have okay, not found. We could be a little bit of glib here and just say your fault. A your fault is a response of a 400. Now, is it client error? What is the actual error message that we're supposed to give on a 400? Bad request. Do you think it would be bad if I just say you done fucked up? It's probably not. Probably shouldn't do that. I'll just say bad request. Oh, send him to HB Cat 400. That would be great. Except I don't think I can actually. I could read. Oh, a redirect would be great. That would be awesome. Okay, so then you are. Okay, you're just yelling at. Okay, so first off here, if the directory is none, so if I want to get this out, so we're going to say let some our directory equals this directory else. So if this doesn't exist, I want to do an early return of a, technically it's an okay response. Code is an HTTP code, your fault. Body is a none. There's no body. Okay. So now I have access to this directory here, and we know that it exists. All right. What's next? Next is I have the directory, and I need to actually have things to show off, don't I? So if I get out of source, I have like target, I have like this program here, but I think what I want to do is I want to create, maybe what I'll do is we can actually test this on like my desktop because it's going to be somewhere completely different, right? So if I just cd the desktop, let's take a, just create like a temp folder there, and let's cat into temp, and we'll say, hello world. This is a multi-line message. Okay, so theoretically, we have a temp folder and a temp file inside of there. And then this is where I want to send them to. So if I take you, directory is not public anymore. Directory is now my home directory desktop temp, which we're still not working right now because of this error, but that's okay. We'll get there. I want to load up, so that's the directory, right? I now want to load up the file name. And I think I can get that out of the request. Path. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure the path is where I want to go, right? Let our file name equals request path. I'm kind of, let's do a print line. And I will throw a to-do on here because I don't care if this immediately crashes. That'll make the error go away, and then I should see this sort of show up below me. Can I? Well, I can make it show up easy for you. Perfect. So if I run you now, we're gonna curl. Is it a GET request? I can't remember what -I does in curl. I mean, we could look it up. You're gonna curl to, oh, files foo. Files foo. Okay. So right now this should be a nothing, but we're gonna do, so curl HTTP localhost files. I think we called it temp. Except you need to be 8001. I don't get anything back because that should have been a 400. Yeah, I don't even handle the route, do I? You're right. Yeah, but why? It didn't crash. Okay. Because it didn't crash because it got here. Does that not give me a 400 back? It'd be nice if I could actually see. Is that the -I? Is that what I get? Oh, -I include the HTTP response headers in the output. There we go. 404 not found. Perfect. Okay. So in that case, yes, we're good to go. So now that we have that, I want to take this handle file, come back to here, and it's files. So some files. Handle file. Oh, these were all reference. Let's do the reference to the request instead of taking ownership of it. Okay, so request, and then you want the directory. You're the only one who uses it, so I might as well give you ownership of it. That's going to be fine. We will context you and say handling file route, question mark you, and we're good to go. You don't have access to the directory, so you need it. I have questions about what my brain was thinking about when writing that. Because that normally I can just say like, oh, that was very similar to a like, you know, JavaScript or something. It's like, no, that was just weird. Let's see, do I have the directory? I do have the directory now. Yeah, so I hand you in there. You are moving because the directory is multiple times. So I need to clone the directory in order to move it in here. Or because it's read only and I don't care about this, pass in segments next, like the echo. Wait, what did I do in echo? I don't remember anymore. Oh, path param. I do. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd been good. Suyash, hello. How's you? I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Yeah, that kind of would be a good thing, wouldn't it? Yeah, we'll definitely do this. This will be good. Okay, so in the meantime though, I want to. Can I get away with as refing this? So create a new directory, but instead of option string, this becomes a stir like you. Not really, but what I could do, it's a bit odd. I could do this as a string. Oh, as deref would have worked. Okay, hold on. As deref. Oh, but wait, I still need to move it? Use a move value directory. Oh, okay. So hold on. I do equals directory as deref there. That creates a new option. And then I just hand you like that. Okay. I have to clone you. Right? Temporary value dropped while. I'm trying to take this directory and clone it into here, but it's probably because it's the same name. It's the same name. So like let's do, I just call it the path. Now what? Does not live long enough. Borrowed value does not live long enough. Do I have to clone it in order to do an as deref? Temporary value dropped while still borrowed. Okay, so keep the clone here. That gives me a new one here, and now I can as deref there. Okay. It needs to be static, so clone or leak it. Okay, that's too bad. A schizophrenic web developer, hello. How are you doing today? Yes, we're building the HTTP server. We're working on, so we did concurrency for the last little part of the challenge. We're working on file handling right now. Okay, so you're happy. Yeah, I don't want to move out and actually like really take it for real. Directory is not, let's see, hold on. We have you, this goes into the router. That gives us an option stir. Yes, I like this as the segments next. Because the segments give the next thing, right? So I want to do this as segments next here. And then the directory is going to be an option stir. Okay, and that's fine. So this is going to be the file name. Is it a string or is it a stir? I don't. Or is it an option stir? It's an option stir. Like that. And then you are also an option stir. Okay, there we go. We've got it. Okay, so we have our file name, we have our directory. We've unwrapped this directory here so we actually know what that is. We need to do the same thing with file name, don't we? So we could just do file some file name. We'll just shadow it. It's fine. Can possibly go wrong. Else we'll return okay. Response, the code. Since if we do this, it'll have to be probably a 404 because it's just not found, right? So HTTP code not found, none. Okay, so now I have the file name, I have the directory. I want to load the file. Isn't there like a file? So there's standard FS file. Attempt to open a file in read-only mode. And then, oh yeah, then there's read. Pull some bytes into the source from the specified buffer. I can never remember which one I want to use. I use this like so infrequently. Path would be the directory. And I want let, I think it's mutable, file equals opening file. Now, once I have this, I think I can read a string, right? So then we have let, this is the contents, which becomes a string new. And I want to file read to string, pass it a mutable reference to the contents. This is reading file to string. And then once I have this, I want to return an OK response. The code is HTTP code, OK, and then the body is going to be some contents. I think that would do it. Directory plus file name, fine. Isn't there like a directory join thing that I can do? Let's hope they're only going to be using UTF-8 files. Otherwise, we crash. They'll be fine. What's the worst that could possibly happen here? A lot. There's a lot that could happen. Okay. So can I do like a path? Because I can do a path with a join, right? So I'm going to do path new. And then I want, so actually let's do this up here. So if I just say, let our path is going to be equal to a path new, and we hand it the directory. And then I want to join the file name. That gives me a path buff. And I hand it the path there. I think that works. Expected enum option found reference request. Oh, right, because I need to take this. No? Wait. Yeah, I just did segments next. What did I do with echo? It's an option stir. Path param. And then I got that out. Why are you unhappy? Expected and enum option stir found reference request. Oh. It's because I didn't save the file. So Rust Analyzer was still looking at the old version of the other file. Yeah, old error. Okay, so there's just that. We have no errors, no warnings. So this might just work now. So if I do a curl, we get an HTTP 1.1 200 OK. Now content type is incorrect. Content length is maybe correct. I don't remember how we calculate that. If I make this a lot longer, so like let's do cat to our temp and just add some more stuff in here. Like if I just take you. Okay, content length I think is correct. I think that's actually calculating it. Content type, however, is still incorrect. And if I send this to the wrong file, ooh, that gives us an error. So we also have to handle that properly. But the server comes back right away, so that's good to know. Okay, so what do I want to do first? Probably the header, right? So in our response, content, okay, so import response, content type header, self, and then it's always this content type, isn't it? Which is, so I probably want to set a content type enum on the response. So that way I could then set what that is, like whether or not it's text plain or something else. Content type ever. Where am I writing that out? Yeah, I'm just writing that out here. And this function is fine. I just need a way to like say what it is. I don't want it to like necessarily auto figure that out. So let's take a response. We're going to have pub content type is going to have to be a new enum. Content type, you're going to be text application octet stream. So I'll call this, what is this, text plain? So let's call this text plain. This will be application octet stream. And then from you, we get a match on self content type. So if you are a content type text plain, you go there like that, and that's what we're going to return. Otherwise, we're going to do content type application octet stream, and then you're going to be that. Now this needs to be turned into a string, right? That's why I have the two owned there. And then we need this rn at the end of each of these. So if I do that, we take you. So what if I do something like let the raw like header equals to this. And then I don't even have the two owned. I just want to return to the strings. This, we're going to turn a format of the raw header followed by rn. And then that will be a new string. Okay, no field content type on response. Didn't I put content type? Oh, I didn't put the type in yet. Okay, that makes you upset. That makes you happy. You need to implement debug. Okay. So now you should be happy there. The only negative now is that everything is missing this. So we have to go in and add these all in there. So content type is text plain, I think, for most of these. And user agent, okay, user agent also text plain. Okay, excellent. You're never used. Okay, so I accidentally put that into the wrong one. I want, wait, where am I going? File. Let's open new file, that one. Handle file, so instead of text plain, you're gonna be application octet stream, okay. Excellent. So now if I run you again, header without colon. Okay, what did I do wrong? Oops. Was I? Oh, yeah. So actually, I can take you away. So we just hand that out here. We'll say content type like that now. There we go. Much better. Application text stream content length 251. Perfect. Okay. So I think we're good there. And then the final thing is that if the file doesn't exist, if it's unable to find it, I think it's a crash here, right? If you read to string and then you don't exist. No, it's here, I bet. Because what happened? Do you tell me? This function will return an error if path does not already exist. Other errors may also be returned according to the open options. Open. Okay, so I think we need to, instead of context question mark this, we're going to match this and handle the error right here. So what type of error can we get? What type of error are you? You're an IO result. It's like IO result error. So like, okay, so if it's an error, IO standard IO error. Is it this one? You're not helping me. It's not help. Oh. That's what you are? Yeah. No variance, call kind. Okay. Okay. So we just have the error. So first off, we'll handle the okay case, right? So if we do this, we have the file come in here and we just return the file out. Great. If you're an error, let the kind equals error dot kind, which gives me that. Great. You're an error kind. Thank you for that. Returns the corresponding error kind for this error. Oh, because then I can use standard IO error kind. Okay, so then I want to... I wonder if I want to match... Or we can do an if let. If let error kind from standard IO error kind not found. Okay, so if that is equal to kind, then I want to do an early return of an OK response. Code is HTTP not found. Body is none. Content type is text plain. That. Otherwise, we're going to do an early response. I guess we could do a 500 error. We don't even have a 500 error, do we? Otherwise, we'll just bail. And we can just bail with got error. Can I just bail with the Ooh, wait. Can I do return error into? Yes. Okay. Okay, no errors, no options. So now if I curl you, I get you, you're fine. And then if I add in you, we get a 404 not found. Okay, so this might just work. Let's go ahead and try it out. So status, I'm gonna add all of you. Yeah, hopefully it'll be fine. So what did we do? We're handling files. No, we're able to return. Okay, so able to return files when with directory mode. And let's find out. What's the chance? Test passed. Perfect. Okay, we'll mark you as complete. All right, so this is the last stage of the main part of build your own HTTP server, and they have some extensions that they added on too. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this one is. Read request body. In this stage, you'll add support for the post method of the file's file name endpoint, which accepts text from the client and creates a new file with that text. Okay, so basically this is just going to upload route. That's what it is. So in the file's file name, I'm out of curiosity. Am I doing anything with like get or something? It's like I have my router, I have my segments. Yeah, I don't think I'm caring about like what this is, right? We're just going like, we're just saying, hey, if this is a get request here, so this is always like, regardless of what it is, it's going to handle file. I wonder if I also want to test like a post on here, which I think we can get with the type of thing. So hold on, if I do this, if we say, if the request dot method, what are you? Method is a type method. Method here is a get. Okay, and then I want to post. Right. Okay, so probably another match on here might be the best thing. So we just do a match on request method. So method get is then going to be this thing. Otherwise, we have a method post, and then we're going to have like, that's like handle file. So we're going to have like a save file. So that would be over here. We can touch routes save file. S. And let's see if I don't, let's not worry about this right now. We'll just add in a result and a response. We'll throw in a to do. And then this will be a save file here. We'll context you. The context is saving file. Handler. And question mark you. And then you are that. What are you upset about? Expected response, found nothing. Because you don't. Oh, I do respond with a response. Okay. Let's see. That's a question mark. Question mark. Oh, yeah. No semicolon there, so it doesn't like end, and we just still have access to it. Okay. So this should work now. So everything by default is a GET request, unless I want it to be something else. Then I throw this in there. The router is a little bit messy. It's not that great, but it works. Variant post is never constructed. That's not, I'm using it, right? Aren't I using it right here? Method post? Okay, whatever. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Do I need to like, I don't know. I don't know what you're yelling at me about. Although it's yelling in the real code too. So that's odd. Ashkay or Akshay, hello. How are you doing today? You're halfway through the rest book? Nice, excellent. How are you enjoying it so far? How far I'm here to this level of doing stuff? Well, if I remember correctly, there is building an HTTP server as part of the Rust book, so you're most of the way there, like 90%, I'm sure. Okay, so this is good. And then let's head back into save file in here. So we want the directory coming in. So we're gonna have a directory, and we know that that's gonna be an option and a stir. And then the other thing is that we want the path, the file name. And the file name is also going to be an option with a stir inside of it. Okay. So given those two things, oh, and then the final thing, which is the body, which is probably going to be the request itself. So then I can hand in the request. It's going to be a reference to the request. Import that. Okay, so now you're going to be upset because I need to handle all these things in. So directory, we have that already. So we have the directory, the file name, that's going to be the segments next. and then a reference to the request. Okay, so that makes you happy. I need the contents of the body. Okay, you're having fun with Rust. Excellent. That's great to hear. How am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm doing pretty good recently. Although a lot of busy stuff that I'm having to do outside of Stream and Brooks builds right now. So hopefully I'll be able to be like finished up with that pretty soon and get back to like more streams, longer streams, all that fun stuff. I really want to get back to that pretty quickly. Nice. Yeah, you're saving a playlist to work on projects in Rust after you complete the book. Excellent. Yeah, let us know how that goes. And then if you're not part of the community on Discord, we'd love to have you there so you can chat about that. Keep yourself motivated with it. We'll be happy to like, cheer you on as you go through all your projects. Okay, so the response. Sorry, the request. I don't have a body here. So we need a body, which I think we're just gonna have this be, it probably needs to be an option. And then we're just gonna make this be a string, aren't we? It's just gonna be like just a raw text. But of course it might not be here. And if I remember correctly, it's the last thing, right? So process request comes in, read the stream, process the raw request, and then it gives us a request the reader about to parse the method. Okay. Parse method from request. Okay. That's great. That gives us the method. We get the path. Parse the protocol from the request. Okay, so we have the protocol. Parse the headers from the request. And then we're done, which means we need a parse body from the request, which I can follow up with what this looks like. Now, what do you take in? You take in the request. Okay, right, which is the reader. We have a reader for this. And then I'm going to return what are you returning? A result within the thing inside of it. So it would be basically a result with a string inside. Of course, there might not be that one, is there? Oh, Discord, how you can join it. Yes, I have. Let's see. I have a link somewhere in YouTube, like my YouTube profile, but here I'll get the response from Twitch. So if I do Discord, no, it's not / Discord, it's Bang Discord. Then that shows up there, and I take you. And put that into chat here. There. That should give you the link to join Discord. All right. Okay, so we have you parse the body from the request. Now, if I remember correctly, everything, I can now just read to the end and we're good to go. From what I understand. So if I have like the rest of the body, so if we just do mute body equals a string new. Is this? I think I just read. I can then just do request. Read all the bytes into end of file, place them to the buffer. I think it's read to end, right? No. No, I can't do that. We've tried that stuff before, right? It's something else. Because it could be really large. It's like parse protocol. Oh, so I just read the line. But of course, it could have new line, so I can't read line. Read until... Okay, so I need... Hold on. Here's an example of a post file name request. Okay, so you have all the headers, and then we're in a crest body. Is that it? There's just nothing else? A crest body does not necessarily always valid UTF data unless they specify the data is never compressed and such here. It's hard to tell. They might do compression in the next section because it looks like there's HTTP compression extension for this challenge. But for here, they're basically saying it's just going to be some random data. So I think it's going to be fine. But you're right. That is a dangerous thing for like anybody uses this web server thing. Like I would probably want to check to see what type of content type this was to then test like, okay, what is it actually going to be? Awesome, Akshay. We'll see you on Discord. Okay, so we'll send a post. You'll set that content length header set to the size of the request body and bytes. That's what it is. Okay, so the content request header. So I get access to the headers here, which is going to have the content. Okay, perfect. So once I get to this point, I know how many bytes I need to read from the content. So I need to access the headers. Where are you? And headers is literally just a hash map string. Didn't I have a type headers? I do have a type headers. So I can just say I want the headers, which is a type reference to the headers. Okay, so given that, I create what the body is going to be. Now let's actually just call this a buffer. I need to extract out the length that this is going to be. So I need let content type, it's going to be equal to headers returns a reference to the value corresponding to the key. So if I remember correctly, we put everything into lowercase. header name to lowercase. Yeah, so this will be content. It is dash, not underscore, right? Yeah, so content type like that. And if you don't exist, I want you I could do an unwrap or default because it's a string, right? Oh, there is no such thing as a default. Okay, fine. Map unwrap or else. We'll do a string new. Is there a way for me to get cloned? Isn't there like a get like dot cloned on? Yeah, cloned. Okay. So now I have access to the full string, and that's great. I want to, let's see, content type. We get this. Okay, we want to check to see what the content type is. So if the content type is not equal to application octet stream, ooh, wait, what do I put in here? Do I actually put in a header? Or is it just strings? It is just string. So this should be fine. Okay, so if you're not that, then I want to return an error, right? So we want to bail. And we're just going to say invalid header. I mean, it's a weird thing to say this as like, that's not like technically correct of what a web server should do, but we're basically saying you better be what I say it should be. Fun fact, you're taking apart your old desk while you're making the part of your brain that thinks it's doing something, think it's doing something. Wait, but taking apart your desk is doing something, right? Or am I making you think that you're doing more than just taking apart your desk? You have no clue how that works because you'd think that part of your brain would be, well, part of your brain that's not knowing. It's the human brain is really fascinating. It is so interesting how this all works. Okay, so content type, if you're not that, invalid header. And then the next thing is I want content length, I think. So headers, we're going to get content dash length. Okay, and so once we have that, we're going to just do if. This should be an if no, let sum probably. So let sum content length equals and actually I could just do this here. Okay, sum content length equals to that. Otherwise, we're going to have to bail missing content length header. String would be application text. Not what they say. But you know what we can do is we can go the other direction around. We could just say, you know what? What if I don't care about the content type right now? What if we just say, this is going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. We're going to get the content length. Now, this is a string so far. So I need to also parse this, right? So if I do a length equals content length, I have to parse this into, I guess we'll do this as a usize. Context, parsing, context, length, header into number. Then we have you as a usize. I want to now read into the buffer from the reader, right? So we take a request. I don't want to transform you. Pull some bytes from this source, returning how many bytes were read, but not enough here, right? So buffer is going to have to be an array of, let's do this as zeros as length. And I'll put you down there. And so read context, reading into buffer. And then I want to convert this into a string and then return that as a result, right? So I want our buffer. I think we do string from, right? String from UTF-8. Well, that's a vector, right? What do I do with the other ones? It's like, I can do a from, right? Buffer is just an array. Okay, I want to look at when I'm getting a path, that's a string, right? Yeah, so I'm getting a path from here. Oh, I turned that into a vec like you. Oh, okay. That's why it worked. And for you, okay, you're an unknown. Wait, that's mine. That's my current one. Method. Oh, that's also a vec like that. I read until space. I don't want to use read until. I can set the size of a vec, right? When I create it. So like instead of this, can I do like the equivalent of this? Will it let me do that? Yes, it will. Okay, perfect. So then from UTF-8 and then hand it the buffer. Context, this is converting body to body buffer to string, and then that's being returned. Okay. Missing the body, but that's fine. So after the headers, we then let, here, let's do this. Print line, because we love printing lines, about to parse body. Letter body equals parse body from request. You want the request first, so it's the mute reader. And then the headers. And then I throw body is some body, because I wonder, like, can you just actually have an empty body? Because if that's the case, then I can just have you be a full string, can I? We'll find out if everything else starts breaking. Why the vec instead of the array? I needed a way to do the string from UTF-8, and that didn't have it from an array. It only had it from a vec. So maybe that's... Is there a way to do string from UTF-8? And it not be a vector and it be an array? I didn't really look that closely. But it worked. But okay, so I'm curious about whether or not... Okay, so where's my thing? So here's about to parse body. We do that, and then I want a print line. Got body. You said some body. I take 6 points of psychic damage. I don't know the reference, and I'm getting the idea that I don't want to know the reference. So I'm sorry you're alone there. You were thinking of standard, stir from UTF. Oh, okay. Either way, it's gonna be fine because I need to turn it into a string anyways, and a vec versus an array is like, yeah, I can totally see like using an array would be more efficient, but there's a lot of inefficiency in this web server, and we're not worried about any of those. Okay. We have some warnings, but our server is running. So if I now attempt to curl this, we want to do maybe like, we'll call this new file. Call this new file 1. And then I want to send in, I think it was like what? D data. So D. Dash data, and send it in that. So data that about parsing raw request, parsing method, unknown method. Method string post with a friggin' space in the end. So hold on, what did I do here? Okay, so reading method from reader. So we got about to parse method, reading method from reader, converting bytes to method. Okay, so we got to here. Oh, and then I try from method. Oh, because I get this vec of U8 for the value. String from. There's my method string. Oh, and then I 2 uppercase. Oh, but this is what it is. So I need to post you. Self post. There. That's what the problem is. Yeah, data defaults to post, not get. And I didn't handle like the actual creating of that, but that's fine. So now if I run this again, got body 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So then if I add something else, like new line, a bunch of other stuff. Okay. It seems to be finding it. Excellent. I have not been introduced to Smath. Okay. It has been forever since I've heard any of the Smash Mouth songs. It's been years since I've listened to any of those. I just completely out of my head. I'm probably going to have them in my head now for the rest of the day, though. Thank you for that. Because now I go like, yeah, I now see the somebody thing. Yeah, I get that. Okay, I've got it now. All right, so that's working. I now have access to the body. It's now just panicking because we're in a not yet implemented. So in save file, now we can actually do the thing, right? Because now we have access to the body. Oh, and I guess, something else that I want to do is I want to test if I just do my curl. Where I'm just getting the temp file. About to parse body. There is no body. Panicked. Missing content length header because. Okay, so it's going to miss the content length header. Because it's not a post. This only works if it's a post. So we need to go back. I say we need to go back to the body being an option. This is fine for right here because we're going to say only attempt to parse the body from the request if it's a post. So parse header. Okay, so I want to go to parse raw request. If okay, so if the method I can't do equals equals, can I? So if matches, how does matches work? Is it left side or right side? Okay, so it's the item I'm testing and then on the left. So, okay, so if it's the method on there and I want method post. Okay, so if you're that, then parse you else I want a none, and you become a sum. Right? Did I do that right? I think I did that right. There we go. Okay, so now we have bodies. You need to be like that to be happy. Okay, perfect. So now this shouldn't yell at me anymore. Psychic damage is meant to be shared with friends. It is, isn't it? Okay, so now if I do this again, this should now work as it is because I can now get a request, and if I do a post, that will work too. Perfect. If I send you out, I just get the not yet implemented. Perfect. What we expected. Okay, so save file. So directory. So we want to create our path. So let move our path is equals going to be a path new from directory. I want to let our directory equals no. Our directory is going to be a let sum directory. Okay, so equals directory. Otherwise, we're going to return a response. Return an OK. Response code, HTTP code, your fault. Body is none. And content type is a content type. Sure, that. Okay. All right, so that gives us the directory. I need the same thing for file name. And we'll just say, hey, it's your fault. It's okay. It's your fault. Great, good to go. And then we create the path. The path is going to be based upon the directory. I want to path.join the file name. Does this give me an we literally just did this. Oh, it gives me a new path, doesn't it? So that file equals, okay, create that. And actually I could just do that all together when I throw this in there. By the way, that 1235 / new will not send a new line. Curl doesn't do escape code things here. Oh, okay. Well, fine. I'm sure it would still work. I'm positive everything will work just fine. It'll be great. You didn't start the server with the directory argument. Your fault. Exactly. We should, like, everybody should just change over and start just saying, like, oh, 400 is just your fault. And then, of course, the other one is my bad. Okay, so we have our path here. I want to create a new file and then write to the file. Now, I want file, create, opens a file in write-only mode. This will create a file if it does not exist, and it will overwrite a file, I'm pretty sure, if it does exist. And I will be fine with that. It's okay. All right, so this is going to be our path, and we're going to join the file name. I have context, opening file for write. Okay, so there we go. We have our file. I want to now write the body to the file, right? So we want to file dot attempts to write an entire buffer to this file. So I could do that. Write a buffer to this writer. Wait, can I just use write with this? Anime girls, hello. How are you doing today? Is this a buffer? Or is this a writer? Can I use like the write can I do that with it and say like, hey, here's file, and then I want to pass in the request.body. Will you let me do that? Cannot write into file. So no, the answer is no. So file dot I probably just want write all. Writes a formatted string into this writer, returning any use the interface with the format args macro. Oh, never, don't call this yourself. I think I just want to write all. Probably just write all. Right? It's like write all. You want writes an entire buffer into this writer. I kind of have the buffer, don't I? This would be buffer would be equal to the request body. Oh, yeah, hold on. Let's body equals request body. I don't need to take ownership of you, I don't think, right? So if I do that, I could take ownership of it later. I could always like to own this. Okay. Otherwise, guess what? It is, again, your fault. Okay. So now I have the body. I don't think I can just could I just do body? I can do as bytes, but it needs to be immutable, doesn't it? Okay, so what if I let our body buffer equals body as bytes? Make that mutable, and now I can just say a mutable reference to the body buffer. We'll context you and say writing body to file, like that. And then we'll file flushing body. And then we're good to go. And then we'll just say, okay, response, code, HTTP code. I'm going to say okay right now, but we're missing created. Body, we're going to have no body, and then content type is none. That's not true. I can't do content type now. Do content type explain. Okay. Just some warnings, but no errors. Okay, no errors, no warnings. You don't see why write wouldn't work. It yelled at me and told me that it wasn't a actual writer that I could pass in. It was the wrong type. That was the problem. I might be able to figure out how to get the right type eventually, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay, so let's not worry about this new line type thing. Let's just see if we can throw in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into new file 1. So if I do that, 200 okay. Hey, it created a new file 1. Excellent. All right. So that's cool. And then is there anything? Oh, and so last thing is that I need this to be a 201. Okay. So that means in our response, I want HTTP code. Sorry. We have created. Self created becomes a 201 created. Save file. So instead of being okay, you become created, and then everything else is going to should be that. So I want to do this again. We're going to do new file 2. We get a 201 created, and if we bat new file 2, there that is. Okay. Let's no warnings, no errors. Let's find out if we did it. We can create a file. Hit push and then see if this runs as expected. Might be worth adding a verbose response for that operation. Yeah, I could see, but hey, it works. We're able to test it out. I think we're good to go. All right, so let's see what we got. Mark this stage as complete. And that means all of the base stages are done. We've now finished the base part of build your own HTTP server. So you personally like doing it for info and debugging. Yeah, I can definitely see how I can send back a JSON response with actual information and data on it, which I'm of course not doing right now, but I could definitely see that being nice. So unfortunately, I don't have time right now to go into another thing. I have a meeting that's coming up in a very short while, so I need to go grab lunch before that happens. But I think next week we'll finish up. Well, we'll see if we can get through the HTTP compression extension for this challenge, which is adding in compression headers. It's going to be multiple compression schemes, and then gzip. I'll wait until the ads are done, and then I'll do the entire thing again. Diablo, you found a way to skip ads? How was that? Also, ads should be done now. Welcome back, everybody. You watch on Android, put an overlay thumbnail thing. Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't have an Android device right now, so I don't know how to test that. But that sounds pretty good. That's awesome. Okay, so everybody, I'm gonna have to be finished for today because I don't have time to go through and do the compression headers and the rest of this. But we are done with the main stages of the build your own HTTP server, which is awesome. Coming up next time will be compression headers, multiple compression schemas or schemes, and then gzip compression, which is what I think everybody on the web uses, or at least most of the sites that I've ever used are just gzip compressed, if you use compression. So that will have to be next week. I think on Monday. I usually create the schedule on Saturday or Sunday and then put that onto the events tab in Discord. So anyways, this is pretty good. Awesome to have that in there. For this thing, nobody I'm following is streaming right now, so I think we're just going to go ahead and end. And the top list of people who are similar are either not English streamers or doing something very different. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's just skip the raid for right now. So everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you stayed from the CJ raid, thank you very much for that. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Have a great week, and I will see you all next time. Bye.